To get what you want to showcase. I'm comfortable, but I also want to get uncomfortable. And I also don't want to get bored too much, you know?
Hello, everyone. The Serious Podcast has returned. Woo, woo, woo. With another episode, you guys, of the Serious Podcast, where we spotlight upcoming, emerging, and seasoned creatives here in South Florida and beyond. And on this episode, we're keeping the same vibes, the energy. We have another highly talented guest here, y'all. Miss Rutamfi, yes, based here in Miami, born in New York, raised in Atlanta, Broward baby.
Yes.
And now Dade County, where you've guys seen her artwork. She has worked with Nike, Adidas. Most recently, she has been at ComplexCon, where she had her work showcased there. ComplexCon Hong Kong. So this is in Asia, y'all. This is in Asia, and this just tells you her work ethic, her work itself, period. Can we make some noise for the guests? Miss Rutamfi. Yeah, I don't have the soundboard right now, but
That's funny.
I will make it up.
I was clapping myself.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Miss Rutamfi, we're gonna go ahead and pick your brain on this episode, of course, about your creative journey as well as your work. And so, can you just basically give us a brief overview of you starting off within the visual arts, digital arts, and as an illustrator?
For sure. So I started out as an artist as long as I can remember. I've been drawing, like a lot of artists, we've been drawing since we were kids.
Yep.
And then, throughout schooling years, I'm always in the back of the classroom drawing, making comics, building little things here and there.
Yep.
And then, went the route of when I got to high school, went to the fine arts, magnet program. I did that in Georgia, in Clayton County. And then I had also went throughout the route of okay, let me go to another fine art school, because I had to move from Georgia to South Florida.
Yeah.
And within my junior year, we had issues with the house we were staying at, so my mom just wanted to move somewhere else randomly.
Yeah.
So I was
She's
all right.
we're going to Florida.
Yeah, I was okay. She talked to a friend. I guess Florida was good enough. I was all right, where all the other Haitians at?
All right.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason. It was either north or south. So
Yep.
Florida was the closest.
Within the Caribbean culture, it's if you know someone in that state, oh yeah, let's go.
Right.
It's it's a community. And so you guys went to Florida, fine arts here, and then ended up going to Broward.
Yeah. I went to Dillard High School, finished out my high school career there.
Yep.
Then went to Broward College. I did their fine art program for 1 year.
Yep.
Because I was okay, gotta go to college. Let me get all this stuff out the way.
Yep.
Because
Prereqs,
all that stuff. Because I knew I was gonna transfer. But they had a 2-year art program, and I, the second year is for stuff that you want to go towards your major. And at the time, I really wanted to hammer down on digital art.
Yeah.
Because it was mostly just painting, graphic design, and drawing and sculpture. And I was those all sound cool, but I wanted to learn, I really wanted to learn animation at the time too. So, and at the time we had juries, they were well, you're still gonna need to learn how to draw. So why don't you do do the drawing major? And I was I don't feel like doing that.
Right.
And I found out Miami-Dade, they had their own animation program.
Yep.
And I was And I found out you could do a dual enrollment program between Broward College and Miami-Dade, because they're both
adjacent.
They're both adjacent state colleges. So they both you can do that, and not a lot of people know that. So what I did is that during the day I would go to Broward, get all the educational stuff out, reading, all those prerequisites.
Yeah.
And then in the evening I would go to all the way to Miami-Dade, grab a bus,
Yep.
go across town and take the animation program at night, because they did a lot of afternoon and night classes.
Yep.
So I found out that cool way to do it, and I got my AA from Broward.
Yep.
I did the animation program at Miami-Dade College for another year, because then I was I gotta get this BFA, bro.
Yeah.
Because what they do over there is AS, it's associate science. So I was
I gotta get that.
Yeah.
Bachelor's, gotta go back for the batch.
I gotta get my bachelor's.
Yeah.
As much as I love animation, because it was just there for you to go straight into the workforce after. I was nah, I gotta get a bachelor's. So then I went across the street to go to New World School of the Arts.
Shout out.
That's where I got my BFA in art and technology.
Nice.
So that was pretty much my schooling career, where even then I was even a student I was still doing so much stuff like outside of school.
Yes.
Like I was like running around different parts of like Miami doing like different projects.
So during like your curriculum experience, like your schooling and education, you were still actively creating art, posting on like social media platforms and kind of creating your fan base, establishing that.
Oh yeah, like even when I was doing stuff in Broward, I was actively outside doing community stuff. Like I was doing like murals in Sistrunk, not far from here.
Shout out.
Exactly. As soon as I graduated high school, I had like a commission from the Broward County Public Arts. So they commissioned me to design like just some artwork for traffic cabinets that would be on like intersections. So I set up like 6 of them. And then like the other 2, I got like 2 other artists at the time to make designs for that too. So it was just murals. It was like public art grants. And then, you know, by the time I got to Miami, I was like, you know, it hit a epiphany. I was like, man, I got to do more. Because I was feeling the art I was making was like, from all the community stuff, was stuff that I wasn't showcasing myself.
Yeah.
It was just stuff that I thought like other people would enjoy. So I was like, I felt like it was a little too family friendly. So I was like,
so you at this point you had to, this was your Michael Jackson bad era. You were like, hold up, let's switch it. Let's get bad.
Yeah, I was like, let me switch it up. So like as soon as I like started in the animation program and I was learning like all the software and stuff, I was like, I'm gonna redo my portfolio. So even though I was still uploading stuff, I felt like, you know, going back to the basics of like what I liked about digital art and really trying to hone that down. So I spent like 6 months, like doing like just like learning new things within like the program, but also doing like my personal, like trying to get that greater.
Yeah. And
also within the time too, across the street from Miami-Dade College in the downtown area was this place called Shoe Gallery. And it's pretty much
the shoe store.
Yeah, the sneaker store that was right there.
Store,
yeah. So I would go there pretty often, even though I didn't have a lot of money. I would go there.
Getting latest drops.
Yeah.
You got a cop.
I just wanted to see the drops.
Yeah.
But like just for me going often and talking to like the owner, Danny, and like talking to like other people in the store, I was like, yeah, I'm an artist too. I saw him do painting. I was like, yeah, I could do art. It was like a really great guy. So, you know, he got me introduced to the store, and then they were like, you know, we can like do stuff together. I was like, fire. So a great thing that we had going on was I would make like illustrations for them, just for them to like post content where, you know, we're highlighting like shoes that are coming out specifically for like women. So it'd be like Nike drops mostly. And in exchange, I get some sneakers.
Oh, and so now this like trying to provide a timetable. So this is roughly graduate 2021 with your BFA or 2020?
2021 I graduated BFA.
Boom, BFA hits, you accomplished that, and now you're just looking for work. You're trying to get into the workforce.
Actually, right before I graduated college, I ended up getting an internship at a PR agency, and it was a design internship. So I did that for like a year. It was like for almost 8 months. And then after that, I was still in school, but I was about to graduate. So the company was like, hey, you did such great work. Why don't you like come in full time? You'll be like full time, part time, and you'll go to be officially full time as soon as you graduate. I was like, fire. So I had a job lined up, luckily, after I graduated. So it was like within like the PR space, it pretty much counts as me like working as like officially as a designer for an agency. So I was now being like, you know, working as an agency artist. Not even an artist, just like a designer mostly. Yeah.
And so how can you credit your collegiate your collegiate time in college help basically provide you your foundation for your work ethic and for your visual arts work?
No, for sure. Like it really did help me a lot of time management. That was like the biggest thing, because that's another thing that I used to struggle with, but now it's gotten to like a point where I'm like, okay, this is just how I live now.
Yeah.
So the college helped like, you know, doing your assignments, getting them in on time, not only with like your art assignments and your art projects, but like just everything else. And I had like a pretty good thing going on where it was just like, you know, when I would leave during the day for like school, I would like, you know, go across the street because they would be in Brickell. So I would just hop on the Metro Mover. 10 minutes later, I'm already at the office. So I had like a good thing going on where I was like,
you had a good system and a routine that led to your success, and then getting that connection with Shoe Gallery too.
Actually, I was doing Shoe Gallery stuff way before that.
Hold up, the timeline is...
The timeline's everywhere. I was doing so many, between graduating high school and before graduating college, the day I graduated college, I already achieved a few things. I already achieved the doing stuff for Shoe Gallery.
And then Adidas was
still there like 6 months later.
And so boom. Let's get to your time working with these major companies. So the first one that you worked with was Adidas.
Yes.
And they flew you out to Germany. And so talk about that experience, because you were roughly, how old were you, like 17, 18?
I was 20.
20.
Yeah.
Freshly 20 years old.
Freshly 20.
Just got a deal, made a connection with Adidas, Germany headquarters. And now you flew out and you're doing work.
Yeah, it was very random. I remember I was doing my part-time job before like the PR agency. I was working at an art gallery in South Beach. And I got like a DM from this girl who said like, hey, I work for Adidas and we're trying to put a campaign together where we're getting different artists from different places. You know, you would get flown out to Germany and then a week later, we also would take you to London too. And I was like, this sounds too good to be true.
Right.
So I looked up her name, like, cause she messaged me from her personal account, and she's like, okay, she works for Adidas in her bio. I looked at her name on LinkedIn. I was like, okay, she's on LinkedIn.
Oh, it's official.
It's official.
It's official.
And then funny enough, like at the art gallery I was working at, we had a woman named Esther who was working at the gallery. She was one of the administrators, and she also had a friend who worked at Adidas. So I went up to her too. I was like, do you know about this? And she's like, no, I don't know about this, but I got a friend who works at Adidas. And then by the time I saw her again, which was like maybe like a day later, she was like, Ruth, it's real.
She's like, it's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
This is a real opportunity.
Yeah. They just found you. I was like, oh, that's what my friend was telling me. I was like, okay. So I told her like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And it didn't really seem real to me until she sent me like the flight ticket confirmation. I was like, oh,
proof in the pudding right there.
Proof right there. And then it was like, oh, we're going to send you a car to pick you up. I was like, from my house? From my apartment? In the hood?
Right.
Fantastic.
And now look, you're in Germany.
I'm in Germany.
You're in the headquarters office, and what does that entail? What did that conversation, like, what do they want from you? What do they want for you to create for them?
So it was basically, at the time, there was these shoes that were coming out with called the pod systems, right? I don't think I even seen them anymore. But at the time, that was like the new shoe that were coming out. And they flew me and about 10 other artists / creatives, to pretty much create like their own color rendition of the pod systems. And that would represent the city you're from. So I was the only artist that they wanted from Miami. They also had they had two creatives from Atlanta. I think they had maybe like 2 or 3 from New York. 2 from LA, and then they went more international, where it was like, now I think about it, it's probably not even 10, it was probably more of us, because I was meeting everybody. It was like 1 from like China, like 2 from Japan, so it was just like different people from different places. But then I ended up like meeting a lot of those other creatives too and artists, and it was like, oh, I seen most of you guys on Instagram. And then the other people that were there, it's like, there's like up and coming in their own genres too. Like one of the guys, he was like doing podcasts as well, but for sneakers. He was doing sneaker content. I met like different models. I met like people who were like actors. And I also met Kubo, who is a Japanese like...
K-U-B-O?
Yes.
Bleach?
No.
Oh, not that.
Not Tite Kubo.
Oh, wrong. Wrong guy, but yeah.
Wrong guy. No, this guy, he's awesome. Like he owns a brand called Great, which is his GR8. And it's basically where like a lot of celebrities go and they buy clothes from his store. Like Kanye went there like I think a few years ago.
Oh, so you made a dope connection.
Yeah. He's so cool. He's so nice. Really funny dude too. And I also met another friend from there too, from Japan, named Takuya, who does a lot of different things, honestly. Now he's like based in LA, so he goes back and forth between LA and Japan, working for different brands and doing like consulting for them. So I made a lot of cool connections, and I met a lot of people there. Yeah. Some have like fallen off over the years, but like the ones ones that I stayed in contact with were like, I was blessed to like, we chum it up every once in a while. And I was happy to meet some of them again years later. Mostly like 2. But it's still great because we were like, damn, we was doing this stuff at Adidas like years ago. It's like,
right? No, literally years ago.
8 years ago.
And this is at 20 years old too.
I was 20.
And you were in these rooms trying to basically work with them, seeing like what they wanted. Yeah. And so what did they want? They flew you out. They flew you guys, all the creatives, out to Germany, and now your role Like, what group were you assigned with, or what they want you to deliver for them?
So we all got assigned like a different a shoe designer to work with, because they pretty much showed us like how they bake the shoes. Like they gave us a tour of like the Adidas campus, and they gave us like the archive tour as well. So you got to see behind the scenes of how they make stuff. And we all got paired up with one designer, and we're just telling them like, yeah, I think for my like colorway rendition, I want to incorporate like different colors, or like mix up like different references that, you know, you personally would like for your style. So for me, I was like making the Miami version of the pod system. So it was me making like the neon, you know,
the Vice colors.
The Vice colors. I incorporated like different like little drawn elements from my art style in there as well. You know, they designed the box, and so they're like, oh, any materials, you know, we can, you know, work with stuff like this. It wasn't like everything, but like we had like a select of like stuff we can work with. So I was like, that's cool, that's straight. So we got to design, you know, beforehand, like, you know, what we wanted to create for the colorway. And then after that, it was like, all right, you know, we can all chill, and we could, you know, talk, and they took us out to eat several times. It was cool. David Beckham came in the building randomly too. That was unplanned. They told us. Yeah, like in the Adidas building, they were like, we saw like everyone. First of all, it's a really big campus, so it's a really giant building. And like everybody from like all these different floors were like coming out and seeing like from the middle, like, no way, what's going on? And they're like, guys, unplanned, but David Beckham just walked in the building. I didn't get a chance to meet him, but I saw him.
I know you got to meet Pharrell though.
That was funny, yes. That was hilarious. That happened like a week later. So what happened is after, because I was in Germany for about 2 days. So after that, they gave us a choice where it's like, you know, they told me there as I was there, they're like, hey, do you want to stay? Because you would have to go to London like maybe like 3 days later. And I was like, but I only packed enough clothes for this weekend. So I was like, okay, I'll fly back. So they flew me back just for me to like repack again. But they also gave me like clothes too, which was nice. They blessed me with a lot of stuff beforehand. So I flew back, did laundry, flew back, flew back to London 3 days later. I ended up coming in like late because my flight was delayed by like a couple hours. So by the time I got there, because I was supposed to be in London like the night before the main campaign celebration. But I got there when it gets started. So I'm off the plane. They pick me up. We're driving through like London. And by the time I get off, they're like, all right, the workshops have started. I was like, fantastic. Okay, I'm here. I made it. So it was just, the second part of it was just like the celebration of the campaign where they were doing like in-person like shoe creating. So everyone was like,
everybody gets to basically make a shoe towards their like zone of where they're coming from, or roots of life, as well as
now
their
it was just
style.
random. Yeah. Now it was just like they had all the materials in front of everybody. They had like the shoe pieces, like the sole. So, and they had like different designers, like, you know, making the shoe as it was there. So they glued everything and whatnot. So it was kind of like a makeshift, like kind of Frankenstein type of stuff going on, but it was still fun. And as they were telling me this, and I was like, you know, I had a sketchbook with me. So I was like, just sketching it down. I was like, okay, what do I want my shit to look like? Because it's like, it's a fun workshop they were doing. So I was like, what do I want it to do? And then one of the girls from Adidas, it was another girl, she came up to me, she's like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm just like pre-sketching, you know, I'm trying to get my ideas down so I can tell the designer to make it. And she's like, oh, that sounds so cool. You should tell it to this guy that we're about to bring in. And I was like, for sure. I'm sure he would love to hear about that. And next, you know, I hear these cameras come through. I see all these lights. And I was like, who the fuck just walked behind me? And it was Pharrell. And I was like, oh, it's Pharrell.
You're like, this is the guy I'm pitching the design to.
I wish he told me, but I was like, oh, it's Pharrell. Oh, shit, I did not know it was Pharrell. I was blindsided. Because I thought he already came and went. Because everyone said they saw him already. So I was like,
still
okay.
in that building.
Yeah, he was still there. I'm like, okay, so he's here for the whole day. So I chatted him for like a little bit. It wasn't too long, but it was cool just to like show him my sketches and stuff. And I was like talking to him. I can't even remember what I was telling him, but all I remember after was like, he said, you're an Aries, aren't you? And I was like, yes, I was born on the 6th. How'd you know?
Now, for real, now this guy's a mind reader right here.
Yeah, I was like, how the fuck you know about that? He's like, I can tell from the way you're speaking. You speak like an Aries. I was like, damn. And, you know, then they had to like, okay, Pharrell, we got to go to the next person. I was like, and I was like, bye. I was like.
What interaction though?
Right? We took a picture and I was like, you know what? That was cool. that was fire. And then, you know, after that, it was like the whole day of just like making stuff.
Yep.
And then they're like, guys, we're going to the club now. I was like, the club? Okay.
After that, now it's just pure enjoying the country.
Right, because at
Enjoying
that
your
time, I was still off the plane. It was like maybe 3 hours since I got off the plane.
Yep.
I already met Pharrell at this point. So now it's just like, okay, the party's happening. Cool. So everyone goes to their hotel just to like, you know, refreshen a little bbit.
Yep.
Mind you, I didn't get a nap in.
Yep.
So I go down to where they're having like the party at. And it was great because I saw not only Pharrell perform, I saw the Migos.
In Germany.
Yeah. It was all three of the Migos performing with Pharrell. They were performing Stir Fry.
So at this point is just a whole experience, being flown out to Adidas headquarters in Germany, helping orchestrate whatever designs they want, meeting Pharrell, Migos. Like, what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive. And then from there, working with Adidas, you done work for Shoe Gallery, making murals for them, Nike, ComplexCon. Like, how has like you working with these major organization companies, basically like, well, how, like your time working with them, how has that established? Well, not established. Like, how do you approach working with these big major companies?
Well, that's the thing. They mostly approach me. Usually, like, it's like, because honestly, through Instagram and like me posting my stuff online, you never know who's looking at your stuff. That's the one thing. You never know who's going to come across your profile. And it could just be a time where you just fit the bill, honestly. So there would be times with like, I'm like, you know, I would try to reach out to people and it's like, hey, I've done this and this. If you need me, you know, always let me know. And usually, you know, I just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But there would be times where I'm like, I just get side quested where it's like, hey, we have an opportunity for you and we love your artwork. We think it fits like the best. And I was like, okay, awesome. Let's do something. So I just say like, just exposing your artwork out there. That's like the first step to do is like, not only just like make the work, but then like post about the work. Even post like your process about the work too. Cause that also helps with like with big brands, they kind of know, you know, how you approach your artwork making too. Cause sometimes when I'm in these meetings, especially when it happens, they're like, how long does this take? You know? And it's like, well, you know, for me, it could be like, you know, maybe a few days if you give me like a heads up. Cause funny thing about brands, sometimes they do like to do things like last minute, like how things work. Even from like me working in PR, now I get to see the background of like how things are kind of like shaped out.
The journey of like the final product or the final touch, really.
It's like so many steps where it's like, okay, this has been approved. Now the next approval, and then the next stage. It gotta be approved by all these hats, you know.
All these channels.
And by the time everything gets approved, every single one, then they reach out to you. And by the time they reach out to you, you probably have about 2 weeks. Sometimes even a few days. It really be like that.
Yep.
So it's like, okay. And then other times it's like they trust certain people enough where it's like, just hurry up and start now because we got to get the ball rolling. Especially around Art Basel. My God. Art Basel, as fun as it is and as much of like great opportunities that can happen for artists and has happened to me, my God, they love doing shit last minute.
Oh, yeah. Always, usually. And then, well, what's another thing? Just like being able to go to these events too. So as a creative, you know, they're reaching out to you last minute and they're telling you, hey, 24 hours before, hey, we need a mural to be done. We need you to come in and present this.
That's either a mural or like we got to design something. And it's like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I can spread some shit around. That's pretty much what happens like every year, like clockwork, honestly. I don't know what the project is, but it happens like clockwork. Like I remember I forgot which Art Basel. I think it was about 2-3 years ago.
Yep.
I was commissioned to do stuff for Amazon Prime.
Nice.
And it was me and another artist. We were both doing stuff where she got to do the Latin side of it, where I got to do like the Black side of like, you know, Black movies and Black culture. And it was a lot of fun. And it was also the girl who, you know, Ashley, I think that was her name.
Yep.
Ashley was so nice about it. She was like, yeah, I got you. You know, we're gonna get through this together. We want you a part of the project.
Yep.
And she's like, but we have about like 2 days.
Yep.
2 days. And I was like, yeah, I could do it. Let's do it now.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would just have to like push everything out the side. I would like prioritize that. And, you know, the money was there.
Yeah.
The money shows up. So I was like, no.
You had to deliver.
I had to deliver. So like, no, I was just impressed. Like after I delivered the artwork, how fast they set shit up. I was like, okay, that was great.
Like, do your part and we'll do the rest.
Exactly. So they just really needed like the artwork.
And so with people, with companies doing like, well, companies and with companies and organizations doing more of the approaching, how does one, create that or obtain that? Like companies reaching out. So what advice would you give someone that wants like to continue to post their work or wants to post their work besides like digital arts? Like how can you, like what advice would you give to someone that wants to go like out past digital arts?
Go outside.
Yeah.
You do have to talk to people, especially like going to certain events. Like take advantage of going to events. I was doing like this artist talk at UM, and I was giving like my presentation to like the undergrads there, and I know they're in UM. They're like all the way in like Coral Gables and stuff.
Yep.
But I'm like, you guys are in Miami. You guys got a train right there. You can go to downtown. There's a lot of
It's the
events
hot spot.
Yeah, like you can go and see all these different events because there's so many things that are happening outside, and you could just meet people like that. And you never know who works for who or who's like connected to who. Because I noticed like, damn, a lot of people are more connected than I thought.
It's real.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're like an artist, like going outside, that's one. But to create like artwork too, I would say it's about your own personal identity, to be honest. Because it has to be like not only the artwork that you enjoy, it's the artwork that only you can create, you know? Like, so when people like see your art, they think about you as the artist as well. You know, even whatever you're making, like you can always make an identity out of anything. So me, like, I'm an anime artist, but I'm like, and I'm an illustrator, and I'm like, I do digital art and like media art, and I'm like, you know, animations. So even though I try to be consistent with like my art style throughout like my different, you know, materials that I'm working with or like the different mediums I'm working in, I try to maintain consistency to that. So it's like, they see the art and it's like, oh, this is Rutamfi's work.
Yeah.
That's Ruth right there.
Stand out. It's you. It's like your own niche.
Exactly. Even when I do like murals and stuff, people are like, didn't you do that shit like in the design district? I'm like, yeah, that was me.
Yep.
That was me.
And with your work and style, it ranges from like Japanese styles and references, animation as well. How did you cultivate what cultivated your what cultivated your art style?
I guess my art style cultivated from like the animes I've enjoyed, like specific animes that I actually liked. So growing up, I watched like, as much as I love Sailor Moon, but like artistic wise, it was Samurai Champloo. That was
Samurai Champloo's gas.
Samurai Champloo and Fooly Cooly. Those were like the big two animes that like really influenced like how I made art. Cause I love like, not only like the character designs, I also love like the kind of like, different emotions that I get from watching it. Like you had Samurai Champloo with like, not only with the samurai aesthetics, but with the lo-fi hip hop stuff going on. New Job is his like soundtrack. Just like even like Watanabe's like art style as well, and how things were animated. Like I loved how it like the art direction and
the characters, like their
how
tones and their outfits as well.
Exactly. Like I know as people like to like argue about like, you know, oh, you shouldn't put like, you know, your black stuff on like your blackness onto like characters and whatnot. Like people feel a type of way if you do that, where it's like, yeah, Piccolo is black. I'm like, yes, he is.
Yep. and exactly. And you mentioned like throughout your work, you have a lot of black representation as well as in the perspective of like anime characters. So why is it important for you to show black representation within your work as well as in that manga anime style characters?
It's pretty much to like not have people second guess when they're looking at them, you know, because I don't want any arguments where it's like, oh, this is a black anime character. Like, yeah, this is an anime character, but they also black. Like that's the main thing. Like just how we were saying, like, you know, Piccolo is black. That's just us, like, you know, putting our kind of like identity onto Piccolo because he does present himself like that. Like there's no way. There's, you know, dude's wearing a turban. He's Muslim. His name is
Piccolo, right?
Right, that's Isaiah right there. Like it's Piccolo, come on.
Yep.
So but people will argue about that. Like people don't really know how it's not like in person. It's mostly just like on a lot of online spaces where like it's really the anime community can be like super toxic. Like especially if you're like a black cosplayer or anything. Yeah, they're like, oh, they make like jokes to you and stuff, and sometimes it's just like it's just too much. Like, regardless how like the quality of your cosplay is, you could have like the dopest cosplay ever. You could look gorgeous, bro.
Of course.
But they're just like, no.
He's not that tone, or that's not how they look. Like,
that's not how it is. It's not really accurate. But it's only like they only like to say like cosplays for everyone if it's like for like different skin tones. But then you could be like dark like me, and it's like I'm gonna dress up as like I'm gonna dress up as Sailor Moon, and you're like, I don't know, I don't remember Sailor Moon being like, I'm like, bruh, please. So I kind of like make these characters not only to like, represent like having like more black characters in anime in that style, because there's also like artists who, they have the excuse of like, I don't know how to draw black characters, and I'm like, you say that, but I don't think you tried.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to show like, this is how I would approach it. Like this is how I would like illustrate my characters like this. And it's also like all of them have like a part of me in there too. So these are like characters I kind of want to see like out in the wild as well. Like how I enjoy like different anime aesthetics. So it's just stuff that I've enjoyed from like Samurai Champloo, Fooly Cooly. Shit, I could probably name like a couple other stuff that I watch.
And
Lucky Star.
And another thing is like your characters, your art has a piece of you. It has like your cradle, your fashion, clothing, your styling of how you approach yourself, how you dress yourself, as well as what you want to see more representation of. And so how do you use like your style? How does your style, your interest kind of create these worlds within your art?
So I say fashion is like the number one thing. Growing up, I didn't have...
see the fit too?
Yeah.
Come on, like...
It's all my fits.
The fit's clean, yeah.
I didn't have like, the luxury to like buy a lot of clothes, of course. And even like the sneakers I wanted, it's always like, they're either way too expensive. Like my first real pair of shoes that I had was like some Vans I had in middle school. And man, I wore them shits to the ground because I loved my Vans so much. Like if I would get a good pair of sneakers, I would wear them stuff. And it wasn't until I got my first pair of Jordans, I didn't get them until I was in high school. And I didn't even buy those Jordans. It was just stuff that like my mom had like collected clothes, because sometimes we would go to different places like swap shops and stuff just to get clothes, and we would like send them to family members and stuff, when we send my grandma down there. So she would like, go through the clothes to send them to family. And so also they can like sell too and make some money. And I was like, oh my God, these are a pair of Jordan Blues.
Yep.
Blue Retros.
True Blues.
I was like, no way. And then but someone had like put like laces, like highlighter laces. And I was like, you know what? I'm keeping the joints on. And they just so happened to be my size. So I was like, my first pair of Jordans were just like free thrifted from like, just some free clothes that we got.
Yep.
So I wore those to the ground as well. Like those,
wearing them.
They were just gone at this point. And then that was pretty much one of the instances where I was like, man, when I get a job, I'm gonna buy my first pair of sneakers with my paycheck. And one of the first things I did buy was a pair of Jordans.
Or Jay, what was the pair? Like was it some 6s, some 4s, some 3s, maybe some OG ones?
It was ones.
Breads or Royal Blue, Shadows?
It was,
Bad boards.
They were, please, it wasn't the bread. They were like all white. I can't even remember the name, but I just went to the store and I was like, I'm getting these bitches. But thank God for like doing a lot of stuff with Shoe Gallery, because they also blessed me with a lot of sneakers as well. Like one of the first projects I did with them was to celebrate Sean Witherspoon's when he had those Air Maxes.
Oh yeah. Unions are like 97, I think.
Yeah. So he had that first drop of like just those Air Max remixes. And I did like, like a cool like drawing for them that we recorded, posted it online. He saw it, gave it a like. But as a thank you, they were like, here's some. You've been blessed with Sean.
You're like, here you go. They're like, here you go. Because you delivered the job, you did the mural.
Yeah.
And they're like, currency, some shoes, and commission.
That was pretty much the commission, just the sneakers. I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. I can't believe y'all gave me some. And it was also for like a raffle they were doing too.
Yep.
So it was just like, they're doing the drawing, like just to announce the raffle as well. So I remember going in the day when they were like wearing my shits, by the way. That's when they gifted it to me. I was like, oh, yay. they were doing the raffle, and some guy had won, and then he put it in his car, and then the rest of the time we were just like hanging out in the store because they had like live music. We were drinking like coffee and stuff. It was great, and then all of a sudden there's commotion outside, and we're like, what happened? They're like, bro, somebody broke into a car. And they stole his Sean Witherspoon's, bro.
Oh, Lord. That's an episode right there. That's a...
I was like, yo, no way. So then they were like, ooh, here, blood, when you walk out of here, like, here, we'll double bag it for you.
Yeah. Because that's the shoe culture, especially if it's a crazy drop.
It was so insane back then, too. It was like, so I had to, like, have it with me.
Oh, and hug it up. Like,
I was like, but I'm like, bro, I took the bus home after this dance. I had to take the bus. Like, they were so nice about it. They were like,
I could only imagine. And what would you say is that creative approach when somebody's coming to you asking for you to deliver this project or this style, if it's a mural or if it's a character for a brand? What is your creative approach?
The story, mostly. Because I want to like grasp like, okay, what's the campaign about? Like, what's the story behind it? What's the narrative? And I pretty much like would approach it from, that would be the start of it. Because then I can like form my own way of like, how can I create a character based on what we're trying to achieve, basically? Because it's like, that's the point. It's like, what's the goal? Like, what good can this do?
Yep.
So, and then like, what's the story I can tell just from like the visual language of the character? And then we go into like the nitty gritty of like timing and whatnot too. Because if it could be like, okay, if it's like a bunch of digital art and characters, I can like, give you a deliver of like maybe like a whole set of characters, maybe 5 or 6. Even like full on illustrations, maybe be like a few as well. For murals, it's more like, that's like a little different process because then the person who's either like commissioning me, they have like more say.
Yeah.
Unless there are times where it's like, yeah, go crazy, go stupid. I'm like, okay, fire. It could just be like a throw up, which, that happens before. And I love those a lot.
Yeah, where they give you creative control.
Yeah, because then I could just be like, oh yeah, I could just do this and no one can tell me no. But then, they have ideas for them and I would like, okay, I can incorporate that. Like one of my biggest murals I've ever done was in Coconut Grove. And it was like, the building I think was maybe like 15 feet tall, 19 feet tall. It was like kind of as tall as this, honestly. It's this building we're in. So it's a pretty big building.
Wait, you had to do that?
Yeah.
You wasn't actively...
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Luckily, I had help with that.
Right.
It was for this lady named Stephanie, and she had a dance studio in the building that was being built. So she wanted to incorporate like a lot of Native American imagery, especially the Native Americans that existed in South Florida before all of us came over here. So I pretty much made like different renditions of like a sketch. And then I was also blessed to work with Oliver, who owns Swamp Space, which is a kind of like a studio, but also studio, gallery space, and fabrication place in a design district.
Wow.
And he was basically my mentor. And Oliver was awesome because he was pretty much the artist that was like, he's like a definition of like an OG artist. Like he was there with Basquiat, Keith Haring, and all of them.
So now this guy was in some like good companies of where like the emerging arts really took off, like the best squats. And
like he was there for it. Like he was there. Like he was a part of the group, and even working as a fabricator.
That's like the time around Andy Warhol.
Exact same time. Like he was the guy that you would go to if you needed to like work on a sculpture, and if you're a painter and you didn't know how to approach it, he got you. Like he's done like amazing projects. He's always behind the scenes. That's another thing. He works a lot of behind the scenes. So he mentored me on how like, to approach like murals. Cause the way I was doing murals before, I was just like bullshitting. I was just like, okay, I'll just paint this on the wall, use a little bit of this, acrylic paint and all that and call it a day. And he's like, you gotta get using house paint. You gotta go to Home Depot. That's the real paint you gotta use. And I was like, oh, that has?
Yeah. There's more layers to it.
There's more layers to it. I was like, oh, okay. Because I was using spray paint mixed with that. Like, that's what I was doing before. And because of that, I was like, yo, house paint is the shit, bro. I think I enjoy it way more than like spray painting. Even though I like spray painting, I enjoy using house paint more, especially like getting like intricate brushworks. And he helped me out where we had to like rent out like, some equipment. We had to go on like the crane, go up and down. Shit was kind of scary because, it was high.
This is you breaking the ice, doing it. Like, you're in the trenches of, we're this high up on this crane and we're using the house paint.
Exactly, bro. Like we had to grit it all out. We had to like do everything. And it was like during the month of June, funny enough too. So it was like super rainy that month. And it was like, man, felt like sleeping.
Yeah.
But it was fun though. It was just like we were outside like so much, and thank God for the time. Like I had no school, and I also was in between jobs, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this mural, and it's gonna be fire. So it was just like we were just outside in the heat, gas station across the street, little corner store, get some snacks.
Mm-hmm.
He had like a grill, make chicken on there.
Oh, balance.
Balance, you know. It would be raining on sometimes, and we would have to wait for the rain to pass. There was one moment where it was just like a downpour, like that came out of nowhere, and we had just finished doing a section.
And when was the delivery like ETA like on estimation for it to be finished by?
Luckily, they said like, listen, probably like maybe like 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I can get this done in a month, because I was like, I'm gonna be here all the time.
Yeah.
I want to see this mural come out. I want to see this like, you know, be
Finished
big.
product.
Yeah. So I was like super excited for it. Plus it was better because, you know, the rental equipment, you never know when they might take that away, you know, especially with a lot of complicated stuff with like paperwork and stuff. So the goal was to do it like as fast as possible within like a month.
Yep.
And it mostly just took about that time because of the rain and whatnot. So it was also weather. That was a big key. But we ended up getting it finished, and it's still there, honestly, and it's still holding up.
It's still there in Wynwood, like
it's in Coconut Grove.
Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, we're gonna add you're gonna see it right here, of course, that lovely piece right here. A mural still there in Coconut Grove. How long has it been sitting there?
When was 2017?
Oh wow.
2018.
So it's roughly close to 8 years.
Yeah.
Wow, about approach 10.
It was great. Atomic Cole even pulled up, and he was like, this shit's gas.
Yeah, nah, that's amazing. And how have you seen, like, how has your work evolved over the years from like 2018 to now present day 2026? How has your artwork, art style evolved over the years?
I say I evolved more through like trying to do different mediums mostly, because I came to find out like that I love working with different things, because I don't want to get bored. Even though like I'm comfortable, but I also want to get uncomfortable, and I also don't want to get bored too much, you know, because there would be times where I'm like, I don't feel like doing digital art right now. I feel like doing something different. I'm going to animate. Mm-hmm. Oh, I don't feel like doing animation. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to paint, you know?
Yep.
So I would have like different seasons where I'm like, I want to work on different things. But I will say over time, like I would describe the way I want to do like different variety of work. Now I kind of say like I like to do installations, because it's pretty much like the culmination of me like bringing all these different mediums I'm working with together.
Bring your digital art into a live physical piece,
Exactly.
A live physical sculpture.
Like a live space, like something where you can sometimes interact with it. You know, even like seeing like paintings, you can probably interact with the paintings there. You know, playing like music that's around, like me working with like other DJs. Doing some projection mapping, so now the animations that I produce can exist like stuff that's not usually on a screen. You know, sometimes the screen gets played out, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing a screen, because I would usually do stuff on TVs, but then I'm like, I don't want to do stuff on TVs. So projection mapping was like the next best thing, because you can actually, you know, set up different ways and map out your area. So my new goal was like just to make my artwork immersive as possible, because not just like my characters exist in a certain world, like I want people to experience the world where my characters exist as well.
Mm-hmm. Bring them into the world that you created.
Exactly.
In present day, like IRL. Literally in real life, you're
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And you know, you're bringing people into your world, and you brought people into the world of Rutamfi in your Terabytes and Tomboys, your art book. So that with delivering that, how has that inspiration behind the book? What is that Terabytes and Tomboy?
So Terabytes and Tomboys pretty much is an art book that I made, where it started from my drawings that I have created since 2018, which was the same year I had joined New World. So that was like, okay, this is like me making like new drawings from then. That was when I was like, yeah, I'm gonna redo my portfolio. And that was the time where I was like, these are the drawings I started there. And it ended where it was like 2023 where I had the cutoff, because I thought that was a good amount of time where I was like uploading like consistently all the time. And instead of like, reaching out to like, a publisher or something, or like just like a company that could like, produce the books for me. That was like such a hard endeavor. And I was like, I didn't know how to do it. Like I would reach out to people and it's like, I would not hear stuff back. And then it's like, all these other hoops and, things to go through. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it myself. So I basically like designed the book myself. I already knew how to use InDesign thanks to like the day job. And, that allowed me to use like the Adobe stuff because I had it through the company, which was great. So I created the layouts of the pages. I set up like all the images and all the artworks I wanted to. And I called it Tomboys and Terabytes because Terabytes was about the fact that like a lot of this stuff existed on my computer.
Oh.
And I had about a couple terabytes of like artwork. It's still about my 2 to 3 terabytes. I still have like a lot of stuff in storage with that, but it's just that, I have like so much. I have like a lot of sketches, even stuff that I didn't even post on Instagram. I included it in there, and just also like other behind the scenes stuff where it was like other projects I also didn't upload. So it was just like an amalgamation of things I had made within that time frame. And then Tomboys is because a lot of the characters are pretty much tomboys. So I thought that'd be like a cute little name. Like, this is like just a culmination of like my character art that I made digitally. And, now it's like you can get them like printed through Mixum, where, they kind of print on demand. So now I just like, I was like, oh, I'll just bet on myself. Like, it's my first art book. So I'm hoping by the time I make like, a new art book or like a second one, it could be something where we can find them in like bookstores and whatnot. So, I wanted to take the chance on myself. So that's what I did.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. And you had your art book featured in Japan, or like it was in the storefronts, or were you able to?
No.
Oh, just hold up, brother.
Nah, I was just bullshit. No.
You got me.
No, it's all good. It's just that at the same time, or after I got them like made, I took them to Japan just for like, just to like
promo. That's dope.
I was like, well, I'm going to Japan and I have my art books, like, because I was supposed to like showcase in Japan at that year, but things didn't really pan out right thanks to like, the gallery situations, and the date I wanted to have it was like, they had to give it to someone else. And then also, so it was just a lot of things that kind of fell through. So I was like, well, I already got the dates and the book, the flight is booked. I got the books with me.
Yep.
I'm gonna just take it with me.
Let's work with it. What I'm saying? What can I do? What can I maximize with them with me?
Right. And it was like, me being a little delusional. I was like, just
not
imagine
delusional, because it'll be there.
I'm manifesting.
Right. Exactly.
I was like, let me see how my book looks like in the Japanese bookstore. So it was just promo for me.
Yeah. And how would you describe me describing your work for the ones that you'll see the work and see it on her page, of course. But to me, I take them as like a futuristic, neo-gen-esque like animation, or like it's like Batman, the Batman Beyond?
Yeah.
Batman Beyond, but animated present day. Like futuristic Batman Beyond, but more animated style, anime, manga style.
I like that description. I do like that, because I did love Batman Beyond too. I actually like Batman in general. Yeah. I like all Batmans.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't really read the comics because I'm like, I ain't got time for that right now. I already gotta read manga.
Yeah.
That's like, now it's like a job to read manga.
Oh yeah.
But I enjoy I love like all the Arkham games, and I love like the Batman animated series. Love that shit.
Oh no, literally, they're two guys, and your inspiration, like the foundation behind your art is of course manga, and then of course your representation, your identity, and then of course tomboy. How's like your tomboy style kind of like? Is that something you grew up being a tomboy and now you're just putting on your work, putting it outward towards your work?
Yeah, pretty much. Because growing up, I was like, because it was always there when I was a kid. Like I would go to church and it's like, you gotta wear the dress to church. And I'm like, bro, this shit is itchy. I don't want. I mean, wear pants like my brother, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you gotta wear a dress. And I'm like, then I sick of this shit. And then it's like other things where it's like, gifted for my birthday, we got you things to paint we got you nail polish. Yep. And I was like, which I was ungrateful for, to be honest, because I just wasn't interested in painting my nails at that time. Now I do my nails every now and then, like every
full
once a
circle.
month.
It's like, you guys were onto something.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I see. Like now,
you see the
ever
vision.
since I learned you could put designs on like nail polish, I was like, that's facts. Okay, I could put like designs on like my acrylic sets. Okay, that's fire. So now I do that. But at the time, I was still like a kid, so I wasn't interested in anything like pink and stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever I got toys, I was like, no, I don't want stuff for girls. I want stuff for kids.
Like, let me get the WWE action figurine.
Let me
or
get
like
something. Yeah, let me get some Sonic figures. You know, let me get some Sonic dolls. You know. Like, I watched Power Rangers. Sure, I really like Sailor Moon. Like, but Sailor Moon was different for me. Cause I was like.
And these Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, some of your anime or manga inspiration on your work.
Exactly. Cause I thought with anime, it was just to me, it was all around general. Like, it was for everyone. Yep. Like, especially how it wasn't, even though it was like categorized as like, Sailor Moon is more like shoujo manga for girls. And Dragon Ball Z is like shonen for boys. I saw like different things where they kind of like intertwine with each other, where it's like I can enjoy both. Like, I like Dragon Ball, you know, I loved seeing like Goku. Trunks was like one of my favorite characters, but Trunk had purple hair. I'm like, that's a nice lavender. Like, he got a nice
his character design in like presentation was off, like especially Teen Gohan. We had the purple jacket, futuristic Gohan and stuff.
They all had swag, so I was like, you can't tell me as a girl I can't enjoy that shit. Like, that shit was great. And Sailor Moon, like, as well as a lot more like gender progressive than like anyone gives it credit for, to be honest. Like, there was a point in time where there was like the Sailor Scouts, and there was also like, you know, other Sailor Moon characters where they were presenting as like boys, or like, you know, dressing more masculine. And then when they transformed, they wore like, you know, the Sailor Scout uniform, or like in just like or Sailor adjacent uniform. And I was like, hold on.
Too advanced. You're like, these guys are
these
ahead.
These bitches are in the future.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite Sailor Scout at the time was Uranus, because even though she was presenting like she was presented masculine, you know, she had like very short hair, she was tall as shit, she wore suits all the fucking time. Then she transformed and she was wearing a Sailor Scout suit, and I was like, see, she drove cars too, so I was like, that's what I fuck with. They let anybody do anything. And Usagi was pretty, like, you know, she kind of gangster too, you know, if you think about it. She was one of the more powerful beings that people don't really like to say that, but no, she was OP.
Yeah.
So they were mixing up, like, and also, like, I loved how the girls act too. Like, they all weren't, like, you know, kind of prim and all that. They weren't, like, perfect, you know. But Usagi was, like, a big-ass crybaby. That was, like, her whole thing. Like, she did not want to do shit.
Literally, and these are the stuff that you show on your work. You show the tomboy, you show like the genders could be, you know, the gender representation could go both ways with the male characters that you have with long hair, very animated, like manga style colors and eyes and stuff. You show that within your work.
Yeah, because I love like going through like the spectrum between like, you know, gender identity and just like how to present wise, you know, because it's like I make like the men characters have like, you know, a touch of femininity towards them, you know, whether they have long hair, their eyes are pretty or whatnot, and even through like the colors. And while the girls have like more of like a masculine edge to them, just by the clothes they're wearing or their facial expressions. And it's because I kind of see them existing like in both ways, you know, like when I was a kid, like I wasn't really sure, like, you know, if I was like, you know, I was struggling with my femininity so much because I was so uncomfortable with it. But there were also things I was like, wait, I love getting my hair done, but I don't like wearing dresses. I love sneakers and I love shoes, but I don't like wearing heels.
And you're showing that you can have the best of both worlds.
Exactly. Like, it was just something that I wanted to kind of like explore, honestly, because it's something that like I wanted to figure out, like, why was I feeling this way? Like, why did I enjoy like wearing these certain clothes too? Like, I didn't like wearing like frills so much. Nowadays, if I do it again, it's like, it's like, I would wear dresses every once in a while if it's like certain occasions now.
Yeah.
But now I just feel so comfortable wearing like slacks.
Yeah.
You know, oversized t-shirts, my Jordans and all my other Nike shoes that I own.
Cozy.
Exactly, cozy.
Yeah,
but I also love getting my nails done, and I love like getting braids.
It's a balance.
It's a balance.
It's a balance. No.
I do makeup sometimes, you know. I like doing makeup. Back then, I was like, no, I don't want
You're like, no.
No, I don't want that shit. And then in high school, I was like, eyeliner?
Right.
You know,
a different, this is a new product. This is a new item.
Right.
Into a new season.
Exactly. So it's just me like trying to showcase where it's like, you know, especially nowadays, there's so much conversation of like, the women are acting like niggas. Which is so annoying. Like, well, the women are acting like men and the men are acting like women. I was like, no, that's not what's happening. damn,
Yeah.
we just live in America.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's consistent. It's like, you know, now that we like living here, like you have to like, you know, you gotta hustle.
Yeah.
We gotta do stuff. We gotta go outside. We gotta work. It's expensive as fuck out here. You know, the cost of living is rising. And you're trying to like not leave like necessarily like get ahead, but you're trying to get into a position
Advance
where,
yourself.
Yeah, where you feel like, you know, you've advanced yourself in a way where you feel like you're great, like, you know, with your identity, with your intelligence, you know, getting a good job and all that stuff. And it calls for like having different perspective on things. So it's like,
So my question is, since we're talking about the journey of being an artist, a creative in Miami, in the melting pot of Miami, how, like, what's that Miami hustle look like as a creative for you? Like during your journey, what did your Miami hustle story, like, what is that? How did that look like for you?
it's kind of funny because I was just like, I was going everywhere, bro. I was taking the bus everywhere. I was going far places. And then I was also taking Ubers a lot too. It was like whatever I had in my pocket, you know. So the Miami hustle was like not only just like showing up, but also trying to like sneak into places, like going to like, especially around Art Basel, bro.
Yes.
Those RSVPs, sure, yes, good to have. But the chance of you being inside, because everybody else is like trying to get inside, it's really hard. So it's like, who can I talk to? Who knows me? Who can let me in, you know? And it's mostly just like, especially when people like fly into Miami and, you know, they get invited to places or they're trying to experience it. It's like, if you don't know anybody here, it's going to be harder, you know, to get into places. There'll be times where I'm like walking down, okay, I left this one party. I'm trying to go somewhere else. I hear my name getting called. I'm like, who's that? They're like, oh, we got stuff going on here. There's a line right there. Cut the line. I'm like, I feel bad, but I'm like,
gotta do what you gotta do.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
It's about who you know.
It really is about who you know. You can still like enjoy a lot of stuff about like Miami too during that time, because there's still like amazing stuff to see. Like, you know, go to places where like not a lot of people are going. Like, go to the museums, go to the different art events, go to Art Basel, like the convention center, go to the other fairs like Untitled and Nada.
Yeah.
Scope has gotten better so much these years. I remember back in the day, Scope was just like, I didn't like it. Now they're dope again. I'm like, thank God. They really turned the corner these last 3-4 years. Untitled has always been awesome.
Yeah.
So, but there's like the other like stuff that's going on too. So you can always find something. There's always opportunities to meet. But the Miami hustle was just like going places and just like, you know, just showing up. Like even then when there was a time where I was in class in downtown, and this was when Virgil was still alive, right?
RB.
Yeah. So around that time, he was like, I'm doing a t-shirt workshop. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Where is it at? What's happening? It was happening the same time I had class. I was like, okay. I was like, what's the address? Right down the street.
Oh.
And I was like,
gotta go.
So I was like, oh man, I gotta use the bathroom. Took my backpack.
And went, that's it.
I left. I didn't get the chance to like be a part of the workshop, but I remember just peeking through the windows and I was like, that's Virgil, bro. And I met like a few kids that were there. I was like, how was it, bro? They were like, she was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was like,
but it's like moments like these where it's like, you either know, and if you either know the people as well. So you know who you know, and make sure you're tapped in and familiar with what's going on within that Miami community, within the art scene, within the art culture there. So
it's always about being tapped in. Like just hanging out with people, you never know who you get invited to. You never know just from like just being around, and it's like, yeah, let's go too. Let's all go together. I'm like, okay, that's sick.
That's it.
Just being tapped in, like that's the hustle, honestly. But then you got to be careful because also Miami has a lot of scammers.
There's a lot of sharks too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sharks, and there's a lot of people that could lead you to fault or to the wrong direction.
Exactly.
And so
annoying.
And what are those like, what organizations in Miami would you like refer a aspiring artist to like know or be tapped in with or like receive a grant? What are those organizations in Miami that are supporting hustling artists?
I would say number one is Ulite. That would be like the number one. They're really great art organization. It's very competitive though, I will say. But I have like artist friends who's had success by not only like winning like a grant from Ulite, but also getting into their studio spaces. They're really nice people, but it's highly competitive. So, you know, it's either your time or it's not. But I say they're like a great resource just to start out and see if you can get in. Then there's Bakehouse. Bakehouse is also really dope. All the artists there are like fire. Their studio spaces are also cool too, because Ulai is great because they're in South Beach.
Yeah.
But going to South Beach is such a chore. At least Bakehouse, they're like right here, and they're like in like the Miami area, so it's much easier to like
Central
commute
Miami.
to. Yeah, so much an easier commute. New ones is Tunnel. Tunnel is dope, especially for like Tunnel is literally underground, which is funny because that's that's the whole point where it's like they have like studio spaces in Hialeah, and it's under a plaza. And it's in like a garage, in a parking garage. That's where the studio spaces are. So you literally go down there to like under the building, and they have like you're like seeing all these studio spaces. You're like, this is sick. And they also have like exhibitions where they're showcasing like new artists, even artists that are not like I won't say recognized yet, but they're like working towards their hustle.
Emerging.
Emerging. Especially where they have like really cool and complicated like different mediums of pieces they're working, especially like sculptures, or if you're working on something like within metal. Or different types of things you're experimenting with. It's also great to see studio space wise. They're really cool. And then there's what else?
You guys, these are some gems right here. If you're not tapped in, she's telling you the ones to be tapped in with because this is amazing.
I'm like giving it out. There's also Fountainhead. Fountainhead is cool. It's more for like more established artists, older artists, but it's still like a great resource to like come in, especially open studio days. You got to take advantage of that. Like it's a great way to like not only meet artists and meet other people. They tap you in. They you get to talk about their process. You get to learn a lot from just open studio days. So that's something that's low key not even being like pushed around. Utilize, especially emerging artists, like utilize open studio days if you have the time.
Yeah,
they happen pretty often. So go every once in a while. Go to like exhibition openings, like on Instagram. Like go on Third Spaces. Like they always putting out like what's happening, like party wise, yes, but also
they have like
art exhibitions have parties. So that's how it is. And an art scene is also a great place to like learn what's also happening, especially not only within Miami, but within like South Florida in general. So they even like upload stuff that's happening in like Orlando. So if you're in Orlando and there's like a cool art exhibition that's happening, you might as well go see it. So just going online, going to tap into these like different art organizations and like going on Instagram and finding like where people can cultivate. Because at the end of the day, sure, Miami's like a party city, artistic as it is, but people like to, experience different things. So I highly recommend it. And then tap into your DJs. They know how to get into your DJs. Your DJs can let you in.
Know a DJ that's tapped in because you might not get to that door. That door you might see that line. You might be like, I'm going home.
Be like, oh, my DJ friend is playing. Let me get in.
No, that's funny. And so what advice would you give to an aspiring creative?
Know a DJ. But
summary of this episode, if you're going to take something away, know a DJ.
Meet a DJ.
Miami, right? Meet a DJ.
But emerging artist-wise, I tell them, investigate something, especially if you want to like, produce work where you're proud of. Because the main thing is that, when people leave art school, they don't know what to do. Honestly, like sure, we took classes about like, how to reach out to a gallery or whatnot, how to make your portfolio, how to make like an artist website so people can know where to look and whatnot. That way you have like a documentation of your work and all that. All those are great. And even like, making the stuff that you're making in art school are amazing too. But after that, people are like, I don't know what to do now. You still got to get a job. That's one thing. But to have a job, work that 9 to 5 or work like your work schedule.
Have that support.
Yeah, have that support. And then even like, creating art, if you really want to like really pursue arts as like, even like a big thing, even as something as like, you're still working because you still got to make the money to produce the artwork. You need materials. If you really want to push through to have that lifestyle, it's like, investigate something. Like what's something that you want to create that you're actively thinking like no one has talked about this yet, or this is something that's not even highlighted, whether it's in your community or yourself. You have to be very introspective as an artist as well. Like, like for me, I had to I created the work that I did because I was like, I wasn't a girly girl, but I appreciate femininity now, but I still dress like a hood nigga most of the time. So it's like, so then it turned to me like making artwork where I'm investigating like between femininity, gender dysphoria, the diaspora as being like, a Haitian woman growing up, where you're being told like, yeah, you got to do this. You got to be a nurse. If you got a brother, they got to be an engineer if you're a boy, all that stuff, how gendered things can be, honestly, growing up. So that was some of the stuff that I was, internalizing, and I was like, let me create work about that just through the characters. And now I'm investigating like different stuff. Now I'm like working on like new proposals and new artworks now, especially in the installation space, and making animations. Especially like next month I'll be going to Taiwan.
Nice.
Since one of my digital art that I did for Mad Arts here, which is like a museum where they delve a lot into like installation artwork, especially immersive art, where it was basically my work was about like rose tinted, where the media that you were exposed to, you feel so nostalgic to it, and it's to the point where your memories might get mixed up within that nostalgia. So it gets to a point where it's like, is the stuff you're remembering, is it because you're experiencing that from the media you watched, or is it that you're living through those memories? So it gets kind of like fuzzy within, like when you feel like nostalgia is fuzzy. Like you could be going through a very shitty time, and then you look back, you're like, oh, the good old days.
You listen to that music during that period, or see that art piece, and it takes you back.
Yeah, like 2016, people were talking about like 2016 was so good, bro. And I was like, yeah, until November. Like we just had good music mostly. I remember we graduated high school, and I was like, damn, this shit is crazy.
Yep.
It's looking scary out here. Like the rise of like all the right stuff was happening at that time. But then, we had Mac Miller.
We had Mac, shout out Mac. And do you create like being so like present today? So like what you see on the news, what you see that's happening within our community internationally, do you create based on like real events that's happening today?
Sometimes. I mostly create mostly from like the feeling I felt at the time what's happening. Like even with what's happening, especially when like stuff was happening with ICE and whatnot. I mostly just made work where it kind of like referenced that a little bit, but it doesn't happen too often because sometimes things just feel so overwhelming. So I kind of the healthy approach was like to write down what I've been experiencing and see if I can incorporate that later. Because, I won't really forget it. I won't forget the feeling, but I'll forget like maybe what led up to it or whatnot. But, as an artist too, you also have like, there's discussions like, is it your job as a creative to, highlight those things? And in some points, it kind of is, honestly. It doesn't have to be where it's like, you're directly saying, what you want to say out. It's more of just like you're creating within the chaos. So I think just creating in general, just from, even though with so many things are going on, that's pretty much the job you're doing as well too. So I
provide an escape.
Provide an escape. Whether it's like for an escape or it's where it's just like, this is just for me, like doing this for therapy, where it's therapeutic, or you're using it actually as a platform to spread around the awareness of what's happening. That can be like, that all works too. Like one of our friends, he's a sculptor and he sculpts like a lot of like, us, a lot of like, our friends who are Black, because he's like Peruvian, he's Spanish. Oh, wow. But like he grew up around us. He grew up in this area.
Around the culture. Yeah.
Around the culture. So when he makes like these like amazing life-size sculptures, it's him like hanging out with us, hanging out with his friends, like, all these memories. All this crazy shit is going around, but it's great to like, highlight like, yeah, there was like moments of peace where, you were just like, looking back, it was like crazy. But, it was insane. But now you're looking at these pieces, you're like, yeah, it was insane that was going on, but you feel blessed to like, experience that through the work you're looking at. So I say just creating within the chaos. That's a job,
It's a bar.
You can make art about anything. You can use art for anything. But just making art, that's the main thing you should do. Even if it's ass.
Yeah. Just deliver and do your work. And like you mentioned, investigate. Investigate what you really enjoy, what you really like, or what you have interest in.
Exactly. Investigate what you want to showcase. Like, that's what a lot of these artists forget. Like you are making artwork just not only, for yourself, but other people will be looking at your work too. So, and a lot of people are interested in what you have to say as an artist. That's one thing people kind of forget. Like, a lot of people think like artists are like kind of like selfish, like, introverted people, which I am introverted, but they're like introverted people like, no, this is just for me,
or people that like to gatekeep.
Yeah.
But you never know until you break that ice and have that conversation or approach them.
Yeah, exactly. I might be socially awkward, but I will talk to you about my process. Yeah. I will talk to you about how I approach my things and how I create the artwork. Like, You know, I meet like different people from different ages too that ask like, oh, you're a digital artist. Like I talked to someone last week who was a girl who's like, you know, she just turned 18 and she showed me her digital art. And I was like, yeah, you was much better than me when I was that age, because I was doing digital art since middle school and the times have gotten better. So
yeah.
but I would tell her like, you know, investigate something, you know, learn different things, learn as much as you can, because all that stuff will will, you know, accumulate in your art. But, you know, you have something to say if you actually, you know, try to look introspectively or just looking at the world, you know?
Well said. Wow. Because I'm about to, guys, these are so much gems and we're picking your brain so well. And these are things I'm going to practice towards my art if I'm not already. If we haven't already, my attendees, this is like real gems and stuff that we all should be doing within like our aspirations and goals and interests.
Investigate.
And
be a detective, like Batman.
Yep. Sherlock Holmes.
I fuck with it.
Sherlock Holmes.
Exactly.
Sherlock Holmes. And so what's like an unspoken creative rule in Miami, if there is one? Like there's something like, it's like an unspoken rule, if there is one.
That's a good question.
Or something like you kind of consciously know whenever you're approaching work, a business, an event.
I would say, and this is hard for artists because it's not like
if it's applicable to you, or
applicable for artists. I would say like, because we get really excited if you meet someone that's like in the same plane that you're working, or the same industry. But sometimes we get scared if we sound like a little too desperate, you know? Sometimes it's a simple conversation like, oh, you're like a curator or something, or you work for this company. That's fire too. And you can just mention like, yeah, I'm an artist too, and I do these things, and we're in like the same way, but like things don't have to happen immediately. That's one thing that some things that might just, you know, sour the grapes later.
Instant gratification.
Yeah, like instant gratification, like honestly, stuff like that. Like things take time, honestly. Like I would meet people that work in different industries and they don't reach out to me till like maybe way later. Like things don't have to happen so soon. You know, we don't have to like, you know, you don't have to come off and be like, I'm turning out, let's work on something now. Let's work on something today. Let's work on something tomorrow. Like you and me, we can make something beautiful, you know? And I like, you know, when people approach me with projects, but you know, stuff takes time, you know, unless you're like a big company and the money's already showing up.
Right.
But if you're like to do something that's like, you know, passionate, something that's coming, that you want to see through fruition, you know, something organic, you know, you have to, you know, I won't say we can be chill, but just, you know, make it casual. Have it where people can, you know, follow along your ideas like later on. You know, you got to give people time. So things don't have to happen ASAP, as soon as possible, because then it will make it come off like you're always trying to get something off like the next person, you know? So just be friendly, be very cordial.
Make it organic, be genuine too with your intentions.
Very genuine. Even say like, hey, we can like also hang out, or if you want, we can like, I can show you around to different places. I've done that where it's like, hey bro, you ever been here? You're new in town? You're visiting for like 3 days?
Yep.
You gotta go to this spot.
Right, gotta hit that one exhibit, or go to that vinyl art. Go to Dante, you know?
Yeah, go to Dante. Yeah. I mean, I don't like Dante's, but I like it.
Just somewhere that's adjacent or nice.
You might have fun at Dante's, you know. Go to 1-800-LUCKY. They got this shit, you know. Try to put people on, you know, so make it organic and very genuine, and you know, you never know, you might make a new friend. So they'll be like, that person was cool. I'm glad they put me onto that spot. And you might never hear from them again, but that's okay.
You know, but you're doing something out of just good heart.
Like if I'm gonna, like if I want something from someone, I usually don't, but it's more as just like, hey bro, let me bless you with this since you actually said hi back to me.
Yep.
So let me give you a thank you for talking to me. Yeah. Be like, yeah, go eat that burger over there. Mm-hmm. They make great burgers. They're also cheap. It's great. Go to Taco Stand if you're in Winwood.
So shout out to them. And just to wrap up this episode, a question that I ask all my guests on here, what is your creative purpose?
Creative purpose? Honestly, I don't see myself doing anything other than art. Even like within like the projects I've done, like corporate wise or whatnot, my purpose is just like, I kind of want to exist as an artist. Within all realms, even as like, you know, a hardworking artist, an artist that's like working her 9 to 5, but you know, she's doing so much stuff outside, an artist that wants to pretty much travel and create, of course, and I want to work on big projects, but just me wanting to showcase myself, honestly, because, you know, for a long time, like, you know, when you're an artist, it can feel like a lonely endeavor, especially you're creating by yourself most of the time. But I come to see that, like, a lot of the friends that I've made and the people around me that I'm so happy to talk to and enjoyed were just because I created art, and they saw my artwork and they felt related to it. They felt like, you know, something nostalgic from it. They felt whatever feelings they got from it. So my purpose is to make, like, you know, more friends and more interactions. As shy as I can be and awkward as I can be, I still try to, like, you know, be better. So my creative purpose is to have the art to, you know, be a better person.
Wow.
And to make cool stuff.
Yeah, that's real. And with your art, you create communities. You bring people together too. And that itself is amazing. So
I try my best.
No,
I really try.
No, you're killing it. And I've seen your work and the future work that you're going to cook up or that you're already cooking. We can't wait for it.
I gotta go work.
With that being said, Rutamfi, thank you again for being a host on the Serious Podcast. I know I met you at the Burgundy event, which you were a panelist on, and just hearing all the panelist stories and yours as well, I was very like intrigued to like, hey, let's have a conversation like this and just talk about your journey and who else, like who knows who else you'll inspire, you know, from the panel and from my podcast too. So I was like, let's get on the podcast. And this episode was great itself. Y'all, and just thank you again.
Thank you for having me. Again, like, this was great, and you never know who's gonna watch this, Brett. You never
Exactly. So with that being said, you guys be sure to follow her on your, what's the social media platform for you, for them to follow you?
I'm mostly on Instagram at Rutamfi. I have a Twitter.
I'm
it's
X now, it's X.
No, Twitter.
It's a Twitter now.
I'm on Twitter.
Yep.
And that shit's not gonna change.
Yep.
But mostly I'm active on IG, so IG at Rutamfi.
All right. With that being said, thank you guys. Serious Podcast. Follow us YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Serious Podcast, and stay tuned for the next episode. We'll drop this on Apple Music and, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. That being said, peace, and we're out. Woo!
Damn,
Yes! That was a great episode. Look at
that was cool.
Yeah, this is great.
Oof, I got scared because I was like, am I rambling?